In this chapter, we'll talk about how you control access to applications, and within an application, how you control access to certain functions. We'll start by controlling access to an application. Open the configuration for the application contacts and untick all users can view application. You'll see that a list of user groups pops up. We'll set up a user group in a minute, but first, let's see what that does. We need to set up a test user. Users live under the full repository. So we'll create a user that just represents a standard contacts app user. Don't forget to enable the account. And we'll add in the base level application user access. This is functional access to things that users need to use applications. Now let's log out and log back in as this test user. We can check in the bottom right hand corner that we've logged in as the correct user. Now let's see what applications are available. Just the PhixFlow standard application, so not our contacts app. So let's go and add in a user group that will allow this user access to the app. We log back in as our modelling user. And we're going to add a user group under the application. Often, user groups that give access to applications are part of the application configuration itself. So let's make sure we do it here. We'll add a user group, contacts user. We'll open the list of applications and drag in the contacts application. Finally, we'll add the user Now let's go and try that access. Log back in as our test user. And this time we can see that we have access to the Contacts app. Let's open that up. The next issue is, as a basic user, I can see all the administration functions. I've got access to the contacts type configuration. I can import contacts, create invoices. So let's go and create a separate level of access for administration users. Again, log out and log back in as the modelling user. The first thing we need to do is, for the relevant actions, restrict the access. So for the import, I'll go into the action details, go to access permissions and untick all users can run action. I'm going to do the same thing for the action behind the create invoice button. And for the contact types menu item. And finally for the other contact type menu item. Okay, so they're all restricted. Next, let's add a user group to allow access to certain users to those buttons. Again, under the application contacts, we add a new user group. This will be called Contact Admin. Let's add some actions into this. So we'll open the list of stream actions. All the relevant stream actions are under the stream contacts. So we have our two menu items for accessing the contact types configuration dashboard. Then the import contacts action and the invoice action. Next, we want to add a user. We don't have one yet, so we need to go and create one. So let's go back into the main repository and we'll create a test admin user. Again, remember to enable the account. Now the user groups are layered, so we'll add in the basic app user access, then we'll add in the contact user group. Without this user can't get into the contacts app. Finally, we'll add the contact admin user group. Let's just quickly review what user groups our basic user is in. Just the basic app user and the contact user. So let's go and test the level of access both of these users have. First, we'll start off with our basic test user. We'll load the application. And this time we can see this user doesn't have access to the contact types menu items, or to the import contacts or the create invoice buttons. Now let's go and log in as our test admin user and make sure that this user does have access to all those things. There we can see both contact types menu items and the import and invoice buttons.